Let's talk about a couple of Manchester United players who are very much sitting on the naughty seat at the moment. Jadon Sancho, linked to Juventus, Gab.
Yeah, well, we've talked about this before. This doesn't make a lot of sense for me. For a number, it doesn't make sense for me from Juve's perspective because they just signed Chico Conceição, which means in terms of wide players, they've got him, they've got Nico Gonzalez, they've got Kenan Yildiz. They've got a bunch of options there. They've got Tim Weah, although obviously he looks like he's on his way out. So do you really need a winger? I mean, even though you think Jadon Sancho can be your big reclamation project, does this really make sense? Not to mention that with Tudor and his 3-4-2-1, he doesn't really play with wingers. The two behind are more kind of people who go all over the pitch. And from Sancho's perspective, man, you've got a year left on your contract with Manchester United. You had Chelsea there ready to take you, and you couldn't agree terms on a multi-year deal. Now, let me let you in on a secret. Chelsea probably could pay you more in terms of wages than what Juventus are ready to put on the table. So this is the part I don't understand. I mean, unless he's determined to go to the Champions League, in which case maybe he thinks he's got a better shot with Juve, and maybe he's going to take a pay cut in exchange for multiple years. But it's really hard to see how Juve are going to do that. Juve, of course, also have Vlahovic and Kolo Muani, who they need to sort out. So it seems really, really odd. I think there's an intermediary who's got the mandate to sell him in Italy, who's really, really, really pushing him. But if you're Sancho, the alternative is just to sit back and say, "Hey, I'm a free agent in a year's time. Who wants me?"
Is Jadon Sancho worth the attention that we give him?
No.
I mean, you look at the productivity over the last 4 seasons, and we just show the numbers there, and it's just, for an attacking player, playing in teams that usually will be attacking teams, and this is what you're getting out of Jadon Sancho, and yet we continue to recycle this conversation, and I tell you.
Should we veto this like Liverpool's pre-season matches?
Well, I don't know that yes, the conversation about Jadon Sancho becoming the player that people thought he would become, yes, I think we can veto that conversation. The numbers don't warrant the attention that we give Jadon Sancho and that we have given Jadon Sancho over the years.
Unfortunately for Jadon Sancho, the person who likes Jadon Sancho the most is Jadon Sancho and nobody else.
Wow.
Oh, all right.
Wow.
Okay. That was harsh.
Meanwhile, Garnacho to Napoli. Gab.
This is a complete slow burn. And look, Ruben Amorim and United have come out. They've briefed. We got a deadline to resolve the Garnacho-Sancho situation. Guess what? Anthony too, chuck him in there. You don't really get to decide that because these people have contracts, right? So I think Napoli are sitting there. I think Napoli have moved on, frankly. They got Noah Lang. They would love to get another sort of winger type, so they're looking for Ndoye. They may yet pull that off, but I think they like the idea. All right, we have Ndoye, and then, hey, look, maybe Garnacho's the alternative. And if the price drops, and if we can reach a deal with Garnacho's people, remember, Garnacho United view him as a real asset because he's on a very small contract, for what he is, because he's still on his original deal. And it's a longer term contract, right? So that's why they weren't insane when they were talking 60, 70 million. The thing is, nobody wants to pay that. And I think Napoli are willing to wait, just as they're willing to wait for Ndoye. And I think they're confident that they'll get one guy or the other as the days pass and the clock winds down towards the window shutting. At the same time, I really would not be surprised if somebody else comes in for Garnacho because I'm not saying he's the greatest winger in the world, but he's young. He's already got a lot of games, a lot of experience on his belt in the Premier League. He's shown he can be productive. I think somebody will come along once the price starts to drop.
Gab, you mentioned Muani before in his future. Could that be at Old Trafford?
I think Paris Saint-Germain would love it if it was at Old Trafford because guess what? You've paid them $6 million in loan fee for half a season. And now Juve coming back and saying, yeah, we want to keep Randal, Kolo Muani, but we don't want to pay a loan fee. And Paris Saint-Germain, well, do you want to pay a transfer fee? No, we don't want to pay a transfer fee either, or we just want to pay a very small one. Look, if he's definitely available. He's not in Paris Saint-Germain's plans, that much is obvious. But again, this is the thing that gets me, right? You asked me about, could he be a target for Manchester United? Well, he's been on the market. He's been available for a long, long time, right? We knew as early as last September that Luis Enrique didn't like the guy and wanted to put him on the market. And that's why he moved on loan to Juve in January. So if you're United, presumably you're doing some planning, presuming you're projecting forward, presumably you have targets. If you wanted Kolo Muani, you would have moved sooner, right? That's the part, and that leaves me skeptical. Unless, of course, they turn into some panic thing in the last 72 hours of the transfer window, and maybe they realize that Rasmus Højlund is still there, and Matthias Cunha really isn't a center forward.
What about Vlahovic, Cam?
So Vlahovic, I think the term is pig in a very happy place.
Right. Stevie and Shepherd's Pie.
Look, when Dusan Vlahovic signed for Juventus, he signed this weird contract which had this massive sort of accelerator clause in the last 2 years of his contract. That means that in his final year of his contract, a bit like Jadon Sancho, he's got a year left. He's making close to £400,000 a week, if you like to think of your numbers in weekly pounds. And from his perspective, he's like, look, I think I'm very, very good. I think I wasn't appreciated before. I think he's really, really good too, actually. He's probably not 400K a week good, and Juventus can't afford that anyway. So Juventus have gone to him and said, like, dude, you have to take a pay cut. If we will keep you, but you have to take a pay cut. You know, let's go a 3-year deal or whatever. And he's saying, well, hang on a minute. Elsewhere, they've tried to pitch him elsewhere. People have tried to come in for him, but why would you pay 50, 60 million for somebody who's going to be on a free in a year's time? And I think that the reality with Dusan Vlahovic is that, unlike, say, Jadon Sancho at Manchester United, who, if he doesn't move, isn't going to get playing time, I think Vlahovic will end up getting playing time at Juve simply because they need him, because they don't have other real options at center forward other than Jonathan David, who just arrived. So he's still going to get his minutes. There's a World Cup coming up, and then he could be a really big free agent. He's still relatively young. I'll tell you what, I mean, people listening to Gavin Joe show will think I'm obsessed with Vlahovic and Osimhen. But the way everybody was like, ooh, Sesko this, Ikitika that, Gyökeres this and that, and ignored those two other guys and have continued to ignore them, man, it either means they really don't like their agents or I'm really missing a trick here, because Vlahovic has been there. He's done that. He's proven. He gives you effort. He gives you work rate, and he scores goals. I mean, that's the simple fact of the matter is. So if you can go to him, if you can talk 3-year deal, 4-year deal, obviously cut, but you're not going to make 400 grand a week, not straight away anyway. I think you can operate, and I think Juve will take a lot less than what they were originally asking for, and you can work that number down. And maybe that's what clubs are hoping to do.